Hey guys, welcome to the Sip and Broken podcast. I'm Zach, he's Nathan, this is Elizabeth.
Hi.
You can find me on Instagram at Nathan Skedios.
I still don't know what my handle is.
ZG_Summer Shred Journey.
And Elizabeth Transformation _.
Yeah.
Elizabeth with an S.
Whoop, whoop.
With an S. I always thought it was with a Z.
Listen,
and when it
I am offended.
and then when Desi was like, no, it's with an S, I'm like,
Just because I'm special. Thanks, Mom.
S for special.
Yeah.
S for special.
Hell yeah. This is your intro to the intro. We don't have one.
Yeah, well, I guess we're
Well.
officially introed now.
Yep.
We talked about things that were unfit for a podcast before, so.
Oh, you could probably get away with it on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Joe Rogan podcast, though.
It's good, but it's like they go in deep sometimes.
They do. They talk about hard things sometimes.
Yeah.
I like Andy Frisella's podcast for the same reason.
Yeah.
He'll just straight up just say whatever he's thinking.
Yeah. He don't care.
He don't give a fuck.
But also, he's not. Well, I mean, we aren't either. But he's not relying on like money for it. Like,
No,
it's not his.
I'm not getting paid for this.
Have you started?
You're not getting paid? No.
Have you
Fuck
finally
no.
started listening to Real AF?
Yeah, it's on my.
Fuck, that's a good fucking podcast,
It is a
isn't
good
it?
podcast.
It's a little. I found it to be a little ho hum when they're talking about current events, though.
Yeah.
I like it when it's more like self help and shit like that.
Yeah. That's typically what I go for. That's why I listen to a lot of the Power
Yeah,
Project.
the fucking Lane Norton episodes of Real AF.
I need to go back and listen to those.
Fucking mint.
I
Yeah.
definitely would be interested.
They're
in
they're
listening.
fucking amazing.
Ooh. So drinks today. We went through a couple different ones.
Yeah, we've been through a few. I accidentally fucked up and made a coffee rum old fashioned that actually was pretty good. And we ended up putting some
Super.
Disaronno cream liqueur on top of it. Tasted great. We drank those pretty quickly. And then we made the cocktail we set out to make. And we did spice black rum, little bit of lime juice, some agave nectar, and some orange bitters for a rum old fashioned. We did it different this time. We used the orange bitters instead of the chocolate bitters like we did the first time. I liked it. Y'all didn't care for it.
I mean, it's fine. Like, I'm drinking it right now. It's
It's
fine.
probably not better than the other one, though.
I like the other one
The
better.
other one was so good.
Yeah. It was a surprise, too, because I was like, oh, shit, you used the coffee
Yeah.
rum.
Yeah, it was definitely an accident because I think collectively, we all three drank that together a few weeks ago at
Yeah.
the beach. I think collectively we didn't much care for it by itself. But it was pretty fucking good in the cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. I expected it to be bad. But, yeah,
It's good. I'm with it.
I'm with it, too.
Totally with it.
Gym this week. Just hammering straight through this episode.
I started with the RP hypertrophy app. It's not quite. I wouldn't necessarily call it AI. It does adjust your work for you, but not in the same sense that like Juggernaut AI or
Yeah.
something like that would.
It's like real time.
Yeah, it doesn't do it real time. It does it week to week as opposed to that. But it was a lot of fun. It was good to have some variety back. I started a 6-day split, so my workout's pretty short and concise. You're getting done between 45 and 60 minutes, something like that. Where I normally on a powerlifting block, I normally am in there an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
So saved myself some time. It was good. Diet wise, I'm still a fat fuck. Fucked up a lot this week, which leads into what we're talking about later. But yeah, I mean, pretty solid week. Still can't really train legs like I want to, but get
We'll
better
there.
all the time, baby.
We'll get there. So for me, was my first week with Joe Sullivan. Just hired him.
Joe Sullivan.
Joe Sullivan.
Joe Sullivan.
That guy.
That guy.
Yeah. You might not have heard of him. He's a little bit under the radar right now, but he's a really good coach. Anyway.
Let me hit that.
Anyway.
We're talking about a vape, by the way.
Yeah. For those who can't see, but now, like if they're watching the video, they can see.
You posting the whole video?
Yes, obviously.
The whole thing.
Well, what I keep in, what do you mean?
Cut the scene.
No, we don't cut scene. We don't cut anything except the beginning and the end.
Once we say go, it's fucking.
It's
done.
whatever happens at that point.
It's a free for all.
Fair.
But anyway, with Joe, he had me doing a lot of HIIT, a lot of walking, focusing on nasal breathing. It was rough. The warm-ups were brutal
Are you-
as fuck.
Are you still using a mouthpiece? Because that helps me with nasal breathing. That's one of my biggest reasons with using a mouthpiece is because I can't effectively breathe through my mouth, so it makes me breathe through my nose.
I'm trying to, when I do because he has me doing 10-minute walks that are focused on nasal breathing, and I'm trying not to use it so I can just like force myself to think about it for the whole 10 minutes. That way it eventually will become something that is just natural and I won't have to think about it. But that's my goal right now, is just to force myself to do it until I just do it subconsciously.
Fair enough.
But yeah, warm-ups were brutal. Barbell work was really easy, but I also think he's just gauging me at this point. Probably for the next couple weeks he'll be gauging me until we start actually prepping for October. So good week though. Happy to have him. He's given me a lot of good pointers, a lot of new cues that I've never heard before, which is interesting because I hear a lot of cues.
Yeah, it's not like we were living under a fucking rock.
Right.
We were pretty
We're in it.
up to speed in terms of new coaching fads and things that work, things that don't work. We're pretty much about ahead of all of our peers in terms of what people are doing, what they're not. So
to hear some new information is pretty cool.
yeah,
honestly.
because it does get regurgitated a fucking lot.
Yeah.
in this dude. Yeah, so.
What'd you do?
All right, so I started a powerlifting plan that Zach here, my coach, hire him, gave me shortly after my show, and I was having back issues, so I just never touched it really. So I started that back this week, and I feel really good. Squats, I did box squats just because I want to see where my back is at, and actually went pretty well. So I feel like I can get a little deeper next time without any pain. But yeah, I felt really, really good. I'm so sore. I could barely walk yesterday at work. It was a lot of falling into chairs instead of just sitting.
Right.
But yeah, rough aftermath, but I feel really good. I have a very tentative goal of doing a meet someday because I feel like I have to because I wanted to for so long. So don't have anything in mind, just kind of seeing what my body can handle and where I can get with it. And if it gets to a point where we think that I can, because if I do a meet, I want to do something big.
Right.
And that's been the problem, but we'll see.
I think Desi will do one with you when she's back into powerlifting.
I think Sandy may be done. I can't speak for her, but yeah, she had been leaning toward being done with powerlifting for a little while. Especially her being a full-time yogi now. I think she'll always do some strength training, but
Right.
Sandy she'll tell you she always felt the best when the only thing she did was running and yoga.
Right.
So I'm not saying she's probably not going back to being a runner, but
Right.
they're probably lifting plus yoga as opposed to running plus yoga.
Yeah.
But can't say that she's done, but we'll see. Post baby, we never know. She might find a new gear. I don't know.
Right.
Like, and with everything that we got going on, I mean, we're always been around powerlifting, so
Yeah.
I doubt she's done. To be
Truthfully, like
she might be done temporarily.
A lot of people say they're done until they see a meet going on or they're around powerlifting again, and they get in there, and I'm like, man, I just want
It's
to.
fucking different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking different.
Being at a meet, like it just drives you to be like, man, I want to get on that platform.
Yeah.
So
It absolutely
Really
does.
riled up.
when I was at your meet, I was like, man, I wish I was competing right now.
Fuck, if I wouldn't have hurt myself, me and you would have been the strongest two people there. I mean,
Well, there was that one guy that benched like.
He had a huge bench press, and then Eugene's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's really.
Nobody would have touched that squat. I can tell you that much. What did he squat, like 750 or something?
Did he squat 750?
He squatted over 700.
Shit.
Shit.
He's a 220 or 242.
Yeah.
He's a really fucking nice guy.
He seems pretty cool.
He's a good dude. But yeah, I think we would have had the biggest bench. Well, other than the one dude, we would have had the biggest benches and the biggest deadlifts.
Yeah.
So, not a lot of heavy deadlifters there.
Nah, not at that one, but it is what it is. You got PR songs?
I do. Yeah.
I got some on my phone.
I mean, I got to pick up my phone too. So, you got a PR song for us?
I don't have my phone.
You don't have your phone?
No.
Do you have a song that you listen to when you're like ready to go hard?
You would hate it. So
It don't matter.
I'm not going to play
I do
it.
have a tiny rant to go on before I do this.
Sure.
Every now and then, I'm a really bad music snob, like a super bad music snob.
If you're new, you might not know that, but if you've listened to like 3 episodes, you would know this.
Yeah, absolutely. It really only takes listen to one episode to know that I'm a really bad music snob. But there is a band that has somehow transcended the metal genre, and we got a bunch of fucking normies listening to it. And I'm a little offended by the fact that normies listen to it because I don't want to have anything in common with those people. Those PFG wearing, Z71 driving, only drink Bud Light, fucking just boring ass people. But I jumped on the bandwagon and I have started listening to Sleep Token.
Oh, really?
And I have to admit, they're pretty fucking good.
I've been saying I need to check them out for a while, and I just haven't.
They have a good mix of a lot of different things, to be honest with you. It feels very fresh and very original. I understand why it's palatable to people that don't have taste. Mm-hmm. But it's extremely fucking good. It's done really,
Maybe
really
I
well.
should listen to it.
Sleep Token. And the name of the song I'm going to submit, it's a slow burn, is Ascensionism, which is a really big word for somebody that wears PFGs and drives Z71. But Webster's is there for a reason. Maybe they'll look it up one day and figure it out. Who knows?
I'll go ahead and add one called Of Mice and Mountains by Discarnate. That
sounds a little bit more like what something we'd normally put on.
It's really funny though.
This would sound like
because like I have this written down. I have no idea what this fucking song sounds like. So I can't describe it in any way. But apparently, I was listening and I was like, fuck yeah, this song rips.
So you guys will listen to it for the first time, kind of like Nathan will listen to it for the first time.
I will listen to it again at some point. But it was on my playlist, so obviously I liked it. I just don't know what it sounded like. It was obviously heavy. Like, if I put it on there, I was like slapping to it, so it was heavy.
Yeah,
that's all I can tell you.
Kind of your fun to look up.
Yeah, absolutely. You use Apple Music?
Yes.
There you go.
I'm gonna add one more just because I'm wearing a Shadow of Intent shirt.
Yeah,
and I kind of have
a dope shirt.
I kind of have to like add them to the list, but the Twin Revelation by Shadow of Intent is fucking killer.
Hell yeah, I like it. I like it.
That first album that they put out, and I've probably said this before, is based off of the first Halo game. It's based off the what are they called? The Flood, which is like just basically a bunch of freakish mutant alien zombies.
Hell yeah, I'm liking it.
It's pretty
about the content that we're used to.
Yep.
Yep. Let's see
All
what
right,
you
you guys want to know?
Yes, we do.
This is gonna be an outlier on the podcast playlist right here. Let's go, baby.
So mine right now is Ashniko's Invitation song, and it's basically a fuck you, I'm gonna wear whatever and do whatever I want, and it's not for you. It's not an invitation for you. And it just riles me up. I could run through a brick wall. And
that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. So
things that
to all
make to a brick wall.
Yeah.
To all the girls, gays and theys, that will be your song.
Girls, gays, and theys.
I don't know if a lot of them listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
They dropped out after the
Alabama Web Wipe.
Well, no, they probably dropped out after the 3 episodes deep about the trans rules in sports that we did.
I don't know. We were pretty fair.
We were pretty fair.
But maybe they still did. Maybe they still did, even
they
though we were
typically
fair.
don't appreciate fairness. It's like they're one way, you know, it is what it is.
Anyway.
We were very fair.
We were fair.
We were fair.
Our opinion, we were fair.
We were fair. I have another one.
Go for it.
I think I have another one. I have to look it up now, too. thought I had it in my mind, but I don't. Theory of Mind by Kublai Khan.
You put them on a lot.
Kublai Khan?
Yeah,
that shit slaps, dude. For real.
It's that hardcore in you.
And I do like a little hardcore in my old age. And let's just go ahead and do another one while we're here by the same band. I fucking love the beginning of this song so goddamn much. If I can find it, it's on an EP. Loyal to None. The beginning of that song just makes me want to just fucking kill everything. I fucking love that song so much.
So one time, I'm a mom, and so my music was on shuffle, and in the middle of deadlifting, this song went going, but I'm in the middle of it. I'm riled up. Bob the Builder. I don't know what it was. Can we fix it? I was like, yes, we can. Slam that shit. Riled me up for randomly, but if
the two of us are in no position to criticize that because that very well could be us in the next 6 to 12 months.
Welcome, guys.
Very true.
Guys.
Very true. I don't know if I'll have that on my Spotify, but we'll see.
Apple Music, you're going to start, if you have it, you're going to add your kids' favorite songs, and then randomly they're going to hit while you're squatting.
I mean,
Row,
listen,
row, row
music's
your
so
boat
important
in the
to
middle of
me.
a squat.
Like, I don't, if my kid wants to listen to that shit, I'm okay with it, dude. I want them to listen to as much music as they possibly can. I think mine's probably going to be a little fucking hellion, to be honest with you.
Same.
I mean,
Music wise, well,
100%.
I don't know.
I think that my kid, I think she's going to beat up other kids for listening to country music in school. I think that's going to be like a problem. She's going to be super athletic, even if I don't want her. I'm not even going to push her toward it.
Right.
But I mean, that's going to be her environment. So like,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, I think the kid's going to be a tyrant. 100%.
I was listening to a podcast and there was this guy talking about when he was a kid. He was an athletic kid and he was always just a bully. And he just bullied everybody for no reason.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be her. I think she's probably got enough empathy from her father. Sandy's a good person too.
Right.
But I don't think she's going to be just a monster. But I think that she probably
We won't
will.
allow that
Yeah, I
in
mean,
our
I bully people about.
okay?
I bully people about that too. Yeah, this is strictly a no country household.
Yeah, same.
Like,
I have to make
Everything changes
sacrifices.
once you become a parent. Everything changes. Everything you said you wouldn't do, you end up doing.
I'm
or
pretty
vice
sure I'm not going
versa.
to move on that.
Well, there's no country music.
I'm just going to tell her honestly what I think it does. I think it's a gateway to
Drugs.
bad beer and crystal meth. It is what it is.
Fair. We ready to get into the topic, or we got any more?
I mean, yeah, we're ready.
So,
We're sad, but we're ready.
well,
There's only one disciplined person in this room.
we'll get in on that. But the topic today that I decided on, essentially, because nobody else contributed, but I didn't ask you.
I wasn't asked.
You were not asked, but I did ask that. That was before I asked you to come and join
Yeah.
us. But the topic of the day is, why do diets fail? And I've got one thing to say first.
I do too.
This is clickbait. Diets don't fail.
People fail.
People
There
fail.
it is. Yep.
That the diet is planned out. The diet does nothing wrong. The
No,
diet is
that's-
just there.
Yeah.
It exists and you're supposed to follow it.
It's how you act on it.
Yep.
The biggest thing about diets and people failing diets is adherence, right?
Yeah, and
Like,
I tell people all the time, I'm sure Elizabeth's heard of this. Best diet, the best program, whatever you want to talk about in the gym, specifically when it comes to program and diet, the best one is the ones you can stick to.
because
Yes.
adherence is the most important thing. Like even that's one of the things that when Albert was on, which you weren't here for that unfortunately, but Albert came on and he was like, sometimes I had to do the cheese dipped in ranch thing. I can't remember exactly how you said
How I
it,
said, yeah, I mean, like, we talk about keto, like,
but that's how he managed to stay in his keto diet. Is
Yeah.
sometimes like he had to have something that was tasty,
Yeah.
and that fell in line with his diet. But he still managed to lose, 150
yeah,
pounds.
me and you've been pretty open and honest about how we feel about the keto diet. And
Yeah.
like, keto diet's worked for me before in the past, but now I've done it so many times, I know exactly what I can do to manipulate that diet for it not to work. Still calories in, calories out. So, I mean, if you're going to eat nothing but fatty meat, if you're going
Salami
to...
dipped in cheese dipped in
If you're gonna,
ranch.
yeah, exactly.
That's
If
what it
you're
was.
gonna do shit like that, like, yeah, you're gonna continue to be a fat fuck. Albert, did a lot of things in terms of intermittent fasting. He did a lot of stuff like that. He
At the end of the day, his calories in,
also
calories out.
Listen,
was
you're
in
talking
the
about
negative.
somebody who started. And this is not taking anything away from Albert. Talking about somebody that started at 500 pounds. His maintenance calories were at least 5,000 calories a
Yeah.
day.
Possibly more, honestly.
Well, that's 5,000 calories. If you use the hybrid method of weight loss, which I typically like to do because it's simple, is your weight loss calories are 10 times your body weight.
yeah.
So theoretically, he should have lost weight on 5,000 calories.
Right.
when you make a big change like that, it'd be pretty easy to get rid of a couple thousand calories.
Right.
Even if you are eating like shit, still. I mean, he didn't. I know Albert's story.
Right.
He did pretty well for the most part. But the fact of the matter is, that guy, we've talked about it before, we've talked about it a lot, he saved his own life doing the keto diet. You can sit here and tell me, other personal trainers can sit here and tell me, keto diet's dangerous, they can jerk their dick about how smart they are about calories in, calories out, and why you need this micronutrient and that micronutrient and everything like that. But the fact of the matter is, that guy, the likelihood of him still being alive today, had he not done that, is much smaller than the life, quality of life he has now.
Yeah, for sure.
He saved his own life by doing it. So, I hate a vegan diet, but people have saved their own lives doing that.
Yeah.
When you can do a whole foods diet, something like that, it is what it is. Best diet's the one that you can stick to.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what was the point you wanted to bring up?
My point was the same thing that you made.
Okay.
Diets don't fail, people fail.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm currently living that. So much so that she's convinced me that, and we've talked a lot about it, it's just not her just telling me that I have this problem. We've discussed it at length. But I think I potentially have ADHD, and I think it keeps me out of focus a lot of the time. I'm struggling really bad with focusing on getting things done for work, which, I'm self-employed, which is a fucking problem. I don't really have a big desire to be in the gym now, and that's rare for me, especially when I start something new like RP.
Right.
Don't really have any interest in the gym. Don't really have any interest in eating right, despite getting news that if I didn't eat right, I'd fucking die soon. All these things. I'm in the middle of fucking up a diet, basically.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not supposed to be drinking alcohol, and I'm 3 or 4 drinks deep this afternoon. So, I know that for a fact. There's not anybody on the planet better equipped to get this right than I am, and I'm not getting it right.
Right.
So, that speaks to how tough it is, too, though.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and, stroke my dick and say that my mental health is worse than everybody else's is, or that her mental health is worse than everybody else's is. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not fucking getting it right, and I know exactly what to do to get it perfect.
Right.
Like, I can, knowledge-wise, I could fucking dial this in and do it better than anybody, but I cannot fucking execute. So, there's a lot of reasons for that, and we'll get into them throughout the episode. But, I'm living this topic currently. So,
Do you have anything to add?
I think, honestly, if you don't work together with, so say you're on a weight loss journey, which I was, fix your mental health, because that's going to be the wall you run into. I have ADHD, I'm diagnosed, and I would hit that wall because I can't focus. Tasks just seem overwhelming, and I would never get it done. So when I started my journey with my weight loss, I hired Zach, made an appointment with the psychiatrist and a therapist, because I knew it was a combination. Because I had been in and out of the and it's knowledge too. Like, I had no idea that you were supposed to eat as much as you're supposed to. Like, I was still in the old school, like, cardio bunny, 1,200 calories, and obviously it's not sustainable because it never worked. It would drop 10 pounds and
you go crazy and binge.
I'm fucking hungry.
Yep.
Binge, and then it was just this vicious cycle. So that really, really helped me with meal prepping, just being able to get on task and come up with a plan, hiring somebody, which is what I did, to come up with that plan, because I had no idea. So a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff out there right now, like, follow this plan, 6-week transformation, 9-week. I mean, I see them all the time. I'm like, that's not how it
it's
works. Not sustainable. It's, maybe it's a good start point, but to me, like, the plan Zach put me on, it was easy. I didn't have to think about it. We didn't even crack numbers until later on. After the first, I think, 40 to 50 pounds, we started looking at actual, like, all right, we're going to get into macros. And that's because I was stalling, so we had to break it down. But, like, he just kept it super simple. And so a lot of people, when they ask me, like, what'd you do? What'd you eat? It's all about consistency. So, like, you cannot be on this roller coaster with your diet. You cannot. Like, there's just no way your body's going to, like, know what's going on. So, like, consistency really helped me. how I am. I can eat the same things for a little bit and then just switch it up and do it until I'm tired of it. And then the cheat meals, which I like to call fun meals because
But we planned them.
they were planned and it gave me something to look forward to. And there was no, at the time, of course, like show prep is different, but just like basic weight loss. There was no limit, you know, you got to eat what you wanted. And if you ever been diagnosed with binge eating disorder, which I have, it was a lot of fun for that. And it made it, it just gave me a goal to look forward to. So even if like the scale or whatever, I'm like, I cannot wait to hit that day where I can just eat what I want. But yeah, I think taking care of your mental health at the same time, when you start a big journey like this, like if you're wanting to lose 30, 40, 50 and up pounds, like there's something going on in your brain that got you to that point. Depression, anxiety, ADHD, binge eating disorder. So looking into that with coming up with a plan, which I mean, I made it work by hiring someone. You can find someone. A lot of people would tell me like, oh, I can never afford a trainer. I always thought that too. But there is availability in where you can find it at a decent price. And I made it work. I picked, instead of eating out, I'm going to save that money and hire a trainer. And I mean, you guys have eaten out.
Double duty.
Literally, it worked so easy. And that's how I was. I mean, I was a single mom, like barely making it. So if I could do that, you know, then anybody can. Because eating out nowadays is ridiculous.
Yeah, man,
so
I spent $40 on me and Brittany from McDonald's yesterday.
yeah.
Two people.
Just don't
I did
buy
have
that
DoorDash
one.
it, but
Yeah, don't do that like 1 or 2 times a week, and you've got the money to get those resources you need, as far as like mental health, finding a trainer that works for you, or the plans. And I mean, I gave Zach a run for his money. I have ridiculous allergies, so you know, even those plans online. Eat this. I couldn't eat half the stuff that they were saying to eat, so I was literally so lost. So I'm thankful that you helped me with that. But it is true, like diets do not fail. It is the individual person, because I've done it over and over and over and over and over again. So.
And that's not just weight loss diets too.
No, yeah.
Because when I first started going to the gym, I was 175 pounds.
the opposite
something
problem.
like that.
Yeah.
And I read online all this stuff. Bodybuilders, you eat chicken, broccoli, and rice.
Yeah.
All the time. And I was like, cool, I'll eat chicken, broccoli, and rice. And I lost weight. And I was like, why am I losing weight? I'm eating stuff that bodybuilders eat.
Yeah.
I didn't know the volume. So like a lack of knowledge too is why you fail.
Yeah.
So I was just like, well, I'm eating chicken, broccoli, and rice. I'm eating, you know, a good breakfast. I'd eat like oatmeal or something. I don't remember, you know, just basic stuff that you would see on a bodybuilding diet. But I wasn't gaining weight. I wasn't getting stronger. I wasn't making the progress I wanted to. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And it literally, because I was at the 180 pound mark for the longest time until I met you. And you were like, dude, you just need to fucking eat. Like, stop eating all this chicken, broccoli, and rice and eat some goddamn food. Eat some ice cream. I don't care what you eat. Get your calories up. And I was like, I'll be honest, the first time I heard you say that, I was like, this guy's a fucking idiot. What is he talking about?
It works though.
But it did. No,
I felt the same way too, because I was even told, you need to eat more. I'm like, I'm trying to lose weight, sir.
Right.
What are you talking about?
I mean, that 6 to 8 times a day really helps with weight loss though, because it keeps you. If you have snacks and stuff planned, it keeps you from binge eating. It's not. You can absolutely lose weight on 1 meal a day, 3 meals a day, 2 meals a day, whatever. Intermittent fasting proves that, but like those of us who I have a history of eating disorders, Elizabeth just told you she does. For those of those issues, we feel we need something
constantly. Like it's
constantly.
like you always
like,
need to eat something
to make you feel like you're not
satiated.
just satiated physically, but like emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because like if you lean on food, like me, I lean on food and alcohol for mental health issues. It's unfortunate, but I do. But if you lean that way, like, you're not gonna fucking make it eating 3 salads a day, and that's fucking it. I mean, you're gonna drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. But I mean, there's a method to the madness, And you're not talking about meals, for her, they may have been 200 to 400 calories a meal. For me, they're bigger, obviously. I'm eating, 6 to 8 ounces of meat a meal, 5 or 6 times a day. And can still lose weight on that. But, it's different for everybody. But, when you're tasked with having to eat a lot, it really can't help with weight loss, though, because, you kind of can be disgusted by it, especially when you're eating super clean foods. It's going to fill you up, or you're going to get tired of chewing it. Raw vegetables, dude, is such a fucking good hack because you will literally get tired of chewing that shit before you can eat enough to make you fat.
It's true.
You will fucking quit.
Unless, I guess the only way you can get around is if you cook it right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're cooking
if you're eating raw vegetables.
Yeah, I mean, raw vegetables can be a really good hack for people, though, because it fucking sucks to chew.
Yeah.
I remember the first time me and Sandy did the paleo diet, which I'm back on now by medical prescription. But the first time we did it, I remember eating carrots and broccoli and being like, I'm so goddamn, my jaw. Sandy, our jaws would be sore from chewing. And it was like, I don't want
to go through the chewing process anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not even hungry because I don't fucking want to chew. It was, stuff like that, little strategies like that really, really help people with weight loss, man. It really helps. But
the problem is they just don't want to eat the raw vegetables.
Yeah.
They want to eat highly palatable foods.
Yeah, I mean, Albert was the opposite. It happened to work for him to ignore food almost completely and eat in his intermittent fasting window and move on, and that's fine. That's, like I said, he saved his own life doing that. But there's just a lot of different strategies that you can employ to kind of help yourself out with this. So.
And it just depends on the person.
I have not found one yet that works for me. It sucks, but I think that going from having had an eating disorder in high school, and now we've talked about this before, but my self-confidence is tied up in how strong I am. I know that I'm not going to be as strong at 240 as I am at 280, and it's really hard for me to want to be 240 despite a real medical need to be 240. You know what I mean?
You have the capacity to.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
Initially you wouldn't be.
I wouldn't be, no. But, stuff like that, that's, and other people are going to have the same mental gymnastics that I'm having, you know what I mean? I think my problem is I kind of outsmart myself sometimes, you know what I mean? It's also really easy to make an excuse of, well, I'm in a hurry right now, got a lot fucking going on, I'm just going to stop in this drive-thru and get this, and the diet will be better tomorrow. It'll be better tomorrow. And let me tell you something, it ain't ever better tomorrow.
Better starts today?
Better starts today. It has to start, it has to be a decision you make and not just adhere to, but, you got to...
You gotta make that choice every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. It's every day's a new day. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He told me that 100 times. Every time I would say I messed up, and he's like, "Well, did you plan to mess up? Did you have a plan?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Then you already planned to mess up." So, yeah, and it has to be a plan. And even in a norm, not with a goal in mind. Even with your. I can speak on this with kids. If you don't have a plan for, what your kids are going to eat, yeah, you are going to go and get a Happy Meal. And you are going to run and grab that quick thing because you just don't know. So, even I've planned out my son's meals, what we're going to do that week. And it's balanced. And what I'm working on now, because after show, I dealt with a lot of, body dysmorphia. It's not sustainable to look, and be in that kind of deficit. So that was, they tell you that, but it's
living with it,
it was hard. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to go into powerlifting, maybe do another show. And I was just in this battle. So I had to take a break completely, just intuitively eating, being active daily, but not in a strict way. And I would feed into my binges, but I wouldn't beat myself up. And I'm like, all right, no, next meal you don't have to binge because you just did, and gained some weight, lost some weight. But what I'm incorporating now to try to help with that is planning my son's meal and just adjusting it to fit my needs. So we're having pasta night, spaghetti. I do ground chicken because I don't like beef. It hurts my tummy. And sauce. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to be in a deficit right now, so obviously I can't. That's a bingey food for me. So I actually found a keto-friendly pasta, so it's good macros. It literally says keto on it, but it's great, zero fat, low carb, and so I'll make those for myself, and then I'll make my son a separate batch or whatever, so we can eat together, and it's not such a chicken and broccoli diet, because like, to me, I had such an extreme goal. It was so easy to just, for me, like, food was fuel. I didn't care how it tasted. I don't care if like that chicken was dry. I was like, I'm going to meet my goal. But now, like, living without that goal, it was weird to try to adjust to that. But so that's how I'm learning to like just to adjust and live at the same time, because I do feel like, you know, bodybuilding especially, like, it's so strict and it's so hard with like having a family, or, you know, it's hard. I feel for people that have kids and try to do this. It's so hard because, you know, you're not going to restrict your kids. Here's your chicken and broccoli, son.
Right.
Like, which my son eats, you know, fruits and vegetables so well. I worked so hard on that to just give him a really healthy view of food. But because it was just so hard to make him that pasta and not binge on it. And like, oh, I'm going to eat my chicken and broccoli. Well, I'm not doing a show, so why am I eating chicken and broccoli? Like, I want to eat some fun stuff. So just kind of like finding my way through it. We're having like Taco Tuesday. So he'll have like a taco with a corn tortilla. I trick myself because I'm allergic to corn, so I can't have it. And I'll do it with green, so grilled bell peppers and stuff like that, and rice or whatever. So yeah, it's hard finding that.
I'll admit, Sandy's a fucking master at making bullshit food healthy. Like, you know, lasagna with low-fat cheeses or low-fat meats, like pulled pork with a tenderloin instead of, you know, shit like that. Like, she does really, really good at it. But the problem is that I'll eat that too and eat whatever else I want. I just don't fucking care. You know, it is what it is. So it's fucking odd. I am one of those weird people that I really don't like eating leftovers, so meal prep's hard for me. But I will say, the majority of people listening, meal prep's probably one of the easiest ways to get to some diet success, to be honest with you. Most people that are a little bit more mentally disciplined than me say, well, this is already made, there's a convenience about that, I'm going to eat this. That's fine. You know what I mean? So
there is something about the, like, not having to stress out about what you're eating, like, because all the food is already made. Like, when I eat the same thing all the time. Like, I always eat one meal specifically every day: steak, rice, or green beans. Now swapped from broccoli to green beans and carrots. Like, I eat that every day.
Yeah.
Like, well, Monday through Friday I eat it because I make 5 portions of it. That's it.
Yeah.
Just like, it's a constant. I don't have to think about it. I know what I'm eating. I like it. It's good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got, you know, I eat sirloin, so it's a little less fatty. You know.
I get it to be my favorite food in the world, and by fucking day 2 or 3, I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something else.
When I first started, like, powerlifting, I could just eat the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I just was not fazed by it, primarily because I was so broke. I was just like, this is what I can afford to eat, so this is what I'm going to eat, you know? Like, my fun meal was, I was working at Jimmy John's, so I got sandwiches. And I was like, well, I can have this, I can just go without the mayo and just do, like, the oil and vinegar sauce because it's a little less calorie dense, and just do, you know, meat, bread, lettuce, cheese, tomatoes, maybe pickles or hot peppers if I'm feeling spicy.
I think that was the same for me when I first started. I was just newly a single mom, like working 3 jobs, like, and just trying to make ends meet. So I couldn't afford to be all fancy with it. So, I was told 6 to 8 meals. He compromised with 6 because I was like, 8 meals? That's ridiculous. You could eat 8 meals a day. But, all I could afford was... And it was almost like I had to buy it every few days because I was just like, I don't even know, like, if I can afford a full week's. I did what I had to do, but yeah, it was a lot of I would do a lot of 1-pan meals. So I'd throw like just a container of chicken. I'd throw a steamable bag of broccoli or California medley, and then throw on some spices, just spice it up, throw it in the oven, and that was my meal. So, yeah, it was just because I couldn't afford it. And our cheap meals that we decided were so pushed out, like I wasn't even a thought. But my first one was Whataburger, and I'll never forget. I recorded myself eating it, and I was rolling my eyes the whole time.
I gotta eat Whataburger right now.
Because it was so long till I did that. But honestly, I was to a point. I was so desperate to like change. I was desperate. Like I was like, I've got to fix this, and it took away the thinking work, especially not doing it like the way he did it. Because I told him, I was like, that just is too much to handle, measuring, and like I don't have time. Like, and I'm like him, I don't like leftovers. So I was like, I'm not gonna cook for a week and eat it. Like I will maybe do 2 days but at that point I was so new to this. I was like, no, I've never eaten a leftover thing in my life. So I would get up at 5 a.m., do that one pan, whatever meat I had, vegetable. Usually it was a frozen bag because, they were cheap. And then we did fruit for my carbs because I had to eat really clean because of all my sensitivities and stuff. And then I would throw them all into containers, and it was easy because I just laid out the 6 containers, and I would throw in, what I needed, and just there was no thinking work. I just was like, I can't think about that, the macro thing. And the macro thing still overwhelms me because it's just so many numbers, and you got to track this, and so sometimes like simplifying it makes it so much better, especially if you're overwhelmed by it or you have mental illnesses that do have that, where you get overwhelmed over, it's sad to say, simple tasks. Like all you have to do is put that container on a little scale, but to me it was overwhelming. So just like simplifying it sometimes, like eating simple for me worked, especially for my goal. And then prepping for a show it's so strict. I wanted my goal so bad I didn't even care if he was like at one point it was just chicken and broccoli, and that was it for months because I got sick of fish. I don't really like fish anyway, but I pushed myself for it. But I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I literally gag. Like, it's not even like, I don't want to eat this. I would gag. So he was like, all right, well, I guess it's just chicken and broccoli or spinach. We switched it up a little bit, but it was so clean and lean. But I was like, my goal's almost here. It was almost like a panic. Yeah. Like, I don't care if it tastes good. It made the after show meal and cookies so worth it. But
shout out to Crumble Cookies.
Crumble Cookies.
The best cookies to ever be made.
I find the hardest part about eating on a diet to be, other than my own craziness, is the social aspect of food, because food's like a love language to me. You know what I mean? Like alcohol kind of is too. And
it definitely can be.
It can be isolating.
It can definitely make you feel like you're missing out.
Yeah, because like if you're out to eat
too much, like most of my friends, if they're gonna hang out with you, like Justin calls me, it's like, where we eating or where we drinking, or both.
Right. Probably both.
Yeah, probably both. Yeah. So like,
it's kind of like, I can't because
she's a little bit older than me and Sandy, but we try to go out eat with her once a week, once every couple of weeks. She's always going to eat Mexican food. When I get to Mexican food, I don't exactly want to eat fucking shrimp and rice.
Right.
Like, I want queso and fried shit like everybody else is getting, right? So
that chimichanga.
And I want, my 2 fishbowl margaritas. I want the whole fucking 9, right? So, I do find it to be one thing that generally sets me off course pretty good is the social aspect. Yeah. Because, like you said, if you don't give into it, it feels pretty isolating.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I
feel like you're missing out on a lot.
I lost a lot of, and they weren't really good friends anyway, but a lot of the people in my life just kind of fell off because I no longer was drinking at the bars. I was allowed to have certain alcohol, but it was very limited. Not during prep, but just the beginning of my journey. I couldn't go out to the bars and with my girlfriends and like just slosh. Yeah.
Pretty much limited to clear liquor and soda water.
And I just, at the time, like, I was just such a anything sweet, and pretty, and you can't really taste the alcohol. So that, to me, at the time was terrible. So I didn't want to. Like, I don't want to go drink that. That's gross. I want my pineapple vodka. Like, I don't want vodka tonic. But, you know, you learn to make it work. But that took, you know, and also, like, my strict, like, I don't have the money now if I'm doing a trainer and a gym membership and
hard to afford a $100 bar tab or better.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
probably
So that took away from it. So I did lose quite a bit of friends, but they were not. I mean, I feel like if your friends and family aren't supporting your goal, like if you go to them, and I had a hard time with work. Work was such a love language with food. Like someone would always bring donuts or, you know, hey, I've got lunch today. Like the owner of the place I work at always, it's like, I got lunches on me. And it was so hard to say, no, not today. Like it killed me because one, I was like, am I hurting her feelings by saying no? And I had coworkers that'd be like, hey, I grabbed you a biscuit. And I had to tell them no. I was like, no, I'm sticking to this. Like, I've got a plan. And they knew about it, but they were just like, oh, it's just a biscuit. And I mean, it was rough. I had donuts put on my station and I had to move the box and I just would smell it and like tears sometimes because I just wanted it so bad.
It's crazy how many people like don't have the problems me and you have had, and they'll just be like, it's just
one thing.
It's
just
not
one.
Breakfast
exactly.
is especially like fucking on edge for me. Is if I fuck up breakfast, I'm much more likely to fuck up the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether if I fuck up and need a slice of
Start
pizza
of the
for
day.
dinner, like
Yeah.
It's the
Start
end of the day.
no big deal.
Start of the
Like,
day, yeah.
if I fuck up at breakfast though, I'm like, well, I might as well have a fucking cheeseburger. Might as well have an
I think
entire
that's-
pizza at night. Like
Yeah, I think that's why I like working out in the morning.
Breakfast is really sugary.
Starting my day because now I eat a little bit, but in the beginning I didn't eat breakfast. He's like, I didn't eat till like noon or something. And he was like, you've got to eat breakfast. And I was like, no, I don't eat breakfast. First of all, I'm allergic to almost all breakfast foods. So I was like, I just don't. And, I had my meals and he was like, eat it. And I would literally be like forcing it down my throat. My body adjusted because of the consistency. So I was actually hungry. But that's why I like working out to start my day because it kind of gives me that like little trigger of like, you don't want to ruin the workout with bad food. But yeah, breakfast, like I'm the same. Like if I run through Dunkin' and I typically just, but if I grab that, it's just a donut the whole day. It's just a spiral. And also binge eating disorder is so expensive because you go out of control because it's like once you have that trigger. And me and him have talked about, I have trigger foods that I just do not keep in my house whatsoever. I just don't, because once I have one, it's not just a chip, just a handful, portion it out, put it in Ziploc. There's no way around it. I will eat the whole thing in a few minutes. So I just had to, especially with a kid, because I didn't want, my son's not on a diet, and I wanted him to have a variety of food. So like he does have macaroni and cheese. So I had to find like little ways to still let him have, I guess, quote unquote, normal foods. But, he still had the fruits and the vegetables, but I can't just have my kid's not supposed to be in a deficit. Like,
right.
He's supposed to be like eating like a normal balanced diet. So that was an adjustment too. But I agree with you. Like the start of the day, I feel like is so important. And working out for me in the morning, if I push it off, if I do mess up, it literally makes me not want to go to the gym because like, oh, I've already ruined the day. So why go to the gym? Like, it's just so psychologically like annoying and exhausting. Yeah. And like you said, like when people are like, just one. I would have to fight people. I'm like, it's not just one. Like, if I have that one bite, just have a bite even. Like, but that's a trigger food. So if I have that one bite, I will spiral. Yeah.
I think it's so like the just the person answer, like it's easy to say it's just a donut. Be better tomorrow, right? But if you look at that like from a personal trainer's perspective and think about your calories as a budget, there's 3,500 calories in a pound, and I'm a cream filled or jelly filled donut guy. I don't really like a glazed donut, right? So like 350 calories a donut. Well, if you ate one donut a month, that's a net 1 pound difference in 10 months.
Yeah.
Just at one donut a month, right? Like, I talk to clients about this all the time. Like, do you drink soda? Yeah, I drink soda. How many drink a day? 3. Three 12-ounce cans of soda is 120 calories a piece. Mm-hmm. So that's 360 calories. That means you're gaining a pound every 10 days or so.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that's a very, very narrow way to think about it. It's not all that goes into it. But, like,
but if you
the reality of it is
out,
me and everybody else, right? But, like, it's not just a donut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really isn't. Like, you know, you eat one donut a week, that's fine. Every 10 weeks, you can expect to be 1 pound heavier.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that's a little cut and dry. If you're measuring your macros and stuff like that, it's not necessarily true.
Right.
But if you're just eating intuitively like most people do, that's a net pound difference. Mm-hmm. 1 pound difference in, 10 weeks or 10 days in the case of a soda or something like that. So, like, it's not the reality of it, regardless of what you tell yourself, is it's not just a donut.
Yeah.
I hear that so much of people saying, well, I eat pretty healthy.
Yeah.
I might have one donut or
You
one
fucking
soda.
guzzle Mountain Dew like it's
Yeah.
like it's
But
fucking
it's
water.
that one donut, one
Yeah,
soda,
absolutely.
that two,
Or that one entire pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we talked, the perfect example of this, Steffi Cohen, when she was still with Hybrid, was talking about looking at your calories like a budget, right? Like if you eat consistently 2,000 calories a day, and that's your weight loss calories, but then you have to spend the weekend eating 4,000 calories a day, well, your net average then, instead of being what would be, 14,000 calories a week, ends up being 16,000 calories a week. That's and again, a net pound difference in a week because you wanted to fuck up 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can say it's only 4,000 calories difference in a week because you had 2 days of excessively eating 2,000 calories. But like, that's a pound of progress you've cost yourself,
Right.
by just 2 days of bad eating. You can do that in just one day. You can be, hey, I'm going to eat 2,000 calories a day, 6 days a week, and turn around on Sunday.
Just whatever.
Mom's having everybody over for lunch. She's made banana pudding, and you have 2 or 3 plates of food and 2 or 3 helpings of banana pudding, and you've ate 7,000 calories in a day. Your net calories for the week are busted.
But
Doesn't matter how goddamn good you were. You know what I mean?
But goddamn, that banana
That
pudding
banana
is good.
pudding, yeah.
God
Sandy puts
damn.
cream cheese in hers, and sweetened condensed milk, and it's fucking fire, bud. Like,
I'll have to try that
fucking
one day.
good.
That sounds good.
it is outstanding.
I love banana pudding.
But yeah, I mean, like people don't. But even I don't think about in the day to day. Like it's so easy for me to be like, I'll eat this bad meal. I'll get back on track tomorrow. You do that 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that much to fuck up your whole week.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't take that much to fuck up your whole month,
Right.
and then your whole block, and then your whole year. Like,
Yeah.
so it's not. It's really at the end of the day, if you're looking at it from an analytical point of view, it's not just a donut. Mm-hmm. It's every time you've said it's just a donut from here until whatever your goal was supposed to be met.
Right.
So it's a big fucking swing if you look at it that way.
And my favorite, which a lot of people say to me, but I was the girl. I was like, well, I don't really eat all day. And I wouldn't go all day without eating.
It doesn't fucking matter.
But then
Veg.
I would be like, but I only eat 1 meal a day. And let me tell you, my 1 meal a day was awful. So when people tell me that, like, I'm not losing weight and I only eat 1 meal a day, and I'm like, well, what's that meal? Because in my head, I was like, well, I'm not eating all day. So, like, no. It did not level out. Like, it was so much food because I was so hungry. So, of course, I'm going to eat way more than I usually would for dinner. I'd have, like, a coffee or, I don't know what I used to drink. I wasn't a big water drinker. The gallon of water a day that he had me on, I was like, I'm going to drown. But your body adjusts.
You got used to it after you had to drink 2 for a few weeks.
God, yeah. 2 gallons a day for 3 days.
That makes me have to piss just thinking about it.
That was probably the hardest. That was the hardest, I think. Part.
I don't. When I did the water cut, I don't think that was the hardest part for me. I think the hardest part was the lack of water after.
Oh yeah, that half a gallon. No, yeah,
That was the
No,
worst
I agree.
part.
You get so adapted to being hydrated and feeling decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that first day was rough with the 2 gallons of water, just trying to figure out like when to drink it all and.
I think it worked better for me because I was at work the whole time, so I was moving constantly.
Yeah.
So when I did that 2 gallons, it was just like I was just making sure I filled my water bottle up every so often.
Yeah.
So I work 10-hour shifts, so it was just like.
I'll tell you what was probably rough
full.
for her. I know it was because I was there to witness it. The morning of the show when she got 8 ounces and had to eat 2 rice cakes with it.
My mouth was so dry. It literally was. I mean,
Yeah.
I
God,
was
you
gonna
might as well
choke.
swallow cotton.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna choke. It was rough. I was like,
Rice cakes are low key like the worst. Everybody talks about rice cakes saving their life. That's the worst goddamn snack on planet Earth. If you ain't got a jar of peanut butter to eat with it, fuck a rice cake.
Unless you get like the bad ones, like the
Well, see,
apple
even if you get
cinnamon
the-
ones or
Yeah.
chocolate
Even
ones.
even the macros are good on those.
Yeah.
They're still drier than a fart, dude. Like, they're fucking dry.
But I feel like I can eat those better than I can eat a regular
I mean, yeah,
one.
they
Yeah.
taste better, but
Yeah.
like, fuck, they're still just like.
I ate them for a while. I liked them. I don't know.
I mean, I don't necessarily dislike them, but it's gonna have to have something with it.
I don't know. I
mean?
guess I'm just weird because I can eat dry food. I was thinking about this the other day. I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about how it's weird it is to eat sandwiches without some sort of sauce, like mayonnaise or something to keep it kind of wet. I'm a dry sandwich guy.
I can eat it like that.
Like
I
it
don't
doesn't
want a
bother
dry sandwich.
me.
I don't want a dry
Like-
sandwich. Can't do it.
I think that's why my that chicken that I would cook was so fucking dry. Like I had to chug water just to swallow it, but I just was like, whatever. Like at that point,
Dry chicken is a different story for me.
no, it was awful.
I feel like deli meat is a little, the consistency of it is
Naturally, a little bit more moist.
yeah, so it's easier to eat, but like
Well,
dry
let me-
chicken gets.
When I did that, what did you call that? The 3 dates with the 2 gallons and. what
Oh,
did
it's
you
just
call
my
that?
water cut protocol.
Okay,
Yeah.
so water cut. When I did that, he sent me the plan, and I followed it to a T. So much so, he saw me eating. He was like, "Did you not put seasoning or anything?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't know I could have it. You didn't write that down in the plan." I was eating plain, dry chicken, plain broccoli.
For the record, if you ever get a meal plan from me, I did not mean.
No,
The
he
only
didn't.
seasoning we're limiting is if it's like a sugar based
Yeah,
Like a
dry,
sauce.
dry
Or something,
seasoning.
yeah. A
But
sugar-based
I didn't-
dry
he goes,
seasoning
"You
or
can-"
sauce,
He
yeah.
said you can do dry, and I was like, I didn't know you didn't write it down. But I was just so like, that's what I loved about like having someone that just sent the plan because I did not question it. Like I gave him my allergies, my intolerances, the stuff I just refused to eat, like because of texture issues. But like I just didn't have to think. I just okay, this is what I'm eating. I went grocery shopping. I didn't get anything outside of that specific plan, and it just worked so well because it took the think like we talked about the thinking work. It's just
And also, just like paying somebody to do it, it feels like if you don't follow through, you're just throwing money away.
yes, yes.
So it's like, you can't just throw that money away.
Yeah.
He told you what to eat. Like, if I don't eat what he tells me to eat, I'm throwing this money away.
Yeah, and then with the gym part with him, I didn't want to embarrass myself because you can't lie to your trainer when you really didn't train according to the program. Like,
Oh, you definitely can.
He can tell if you haven't lifted what he told you to lift because then you go to your trainer and you go to lift and he's like, "What'd you do this week? Because you didn't do what I told you to." So like,
Yeah, I
it was
can
almost
definitely tell. You can
it was
definitely lie
almost-
to me, but I can definitely
Yeah.
tell whether or not.
Yeah, it was almost that pressure of like I don't want to embarrass myself or get called out or have those tough conversations. And over time, those tough conversations, like I wouldn't say I would lie, but I would withhold a lot. Just like I would feel bad, and it's like shameful, especially with binge eating. But eventually, honestly, like telling him, like, "Hey, I binge," like was so helpful to actually like. I did this instead of hiding it and having to like, oh my god, like I ruined the whole week, da da da. But being like, hey, I messed up last night. He would just, all right, well, what are we gonna do to fix it? And it was just more helpful than just
Yeah.
being. It's so secret, like eating disorders. They're so secret, and you just don't want to. But speaking on it really helped me too. It's embarrassing, and I think that embarrassment almost helps in a way. Like for me, like I'm like I don't want to embarrass myself, so I don't want to like binge. I think one time it was like during prep and we were in training and I was like I'm hitting a wall and he was like okay like what are you doing because you're not following the plan. And I told him I was like well yesterday for example I grabbed a handful of Cheez-Its and I shoved it in my mouth because I was giving it to my kid and he was like all right well how much calories do you think you ate? And he was I think we determined it was like 400. It's like, all right, get on that treadmill and burn 400 calories.
Oof.
So he was like, so every time you want to do that, we're going to do this. And I literally, or we did burpees too. Like if you would, whatever it may be.
Punishment.
And I hate burpees with all my heart. Like I cried. He had me on a HIIT program, similar to what you were talking about with
Yeah.
your, and there was like a few days with burpees in it, and I told him, I was like, I just don't want it. Like, they're miserable, and I would cry during those sessions, and he'd be like, he would feel bad, but I was like, no, I hate them, but I'm gonna do it, but I hate it. And I would go to the bathroom and throw up, and then I'd come back, and he's like, you good? And I was like, yeah. And
the reason why I do that kind of stuff though isn't, I don't expect somebody to, every time they fuck up, to get on the treadmill and burn 400 calories. But what it can do for somebody is put it in perspective what that can of Coke or slice of pizza or something like that does.
What that looks like.
How much actual work is required
that's what he was doing.
To burn that off.
Yep.
And he was like, so you can keep continuing to do that, but this is what you're going to have to do to cover it. And I did not want to be on the treadmill any more than he had me on for my show. So it was just like that. When I had went to go reach for that, I was like, do I want to do, and I don't remember how long I was on the treadmill, but it was
probably an hour.
It was probably at least an hour, pretty decent pace and pretty decent incline.
And I was like, I don't want to do an extra hour just for that handful of Cheez-Its. So that helped me out a lot.
Yeah. Moral of the story is, diets don't fail, people fail.
Yep.
Don't fuck up.
Yep.
Just
I fuck up all the time.
Follow your diets, research, or have somebody else do the research for you and tell you what you're supposed to eat.
Get a plan.
That's the real goal, really.
Get knowledge. Do not eat 1,200 calories and go on the treadmill for an hour. Eat your food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eat food.
So, I'm going to do this one. This is a segue. Do you guys know what you call a chicken-flavored lollipop?
I do.
A cocksucker. We've arrived. Do you have a dad joke?
I didn't prepare one, no.
I will find one.
He's always on Dad Says Jokes.
Dad Says Jokes is like the best place to get dad jokes. And I feel like I've shared one in my story. Apparently not recently. But I will go find them because I've seen some bangers recently. Oh, man.
My butt cheeks hurt from sitting in this chair. That's not a dad joke. That's just stone cold fucking fact.
I told my wife I wanted to be cremated, so she made an appointment for Tuesday. Oof. I was dreaming about having diarrhea, and then I woke up. That's when shit got real.
Oh my God.
Pretty rough.
This one might be a little close to home. My doctor just told me I'm suffering from paranoia. Well, he didn't actually say that, but I could tell that's what he was thinking.
Oof. Yeah, that is more.
Yeah.
This is the last one I'm going to give because I like this one. This morning I saw my neighbor talking to her cat. It was obvious the poor woman thought that the cat understood her. So when I got home, I told my dog and we laughed a lot.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I do talk to my dog.
I talk to all three of my dogs, but I don't expect them. Well, they understand some things. Some things they don't listen to. They understand. They're just like, nah, I didn't hear that.
Fuck you, bud.
Pretty much.
And that's what parenting is like, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Can't wait. So excited.
Here it comes. I am actually excited, to be honest.
I'm neither here nor there, I guess. Like, it's happening, and it's going to happen. And I'm waiting to see how I feel about it the whole time.
Listen, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, but it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
So.
I hear that a lot. I also heard, I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Andy Samberg?
The comedian?
Yeah. He said, he was like, that's a lie. Everyone says it's like the greatest thing that ever happened, but that's a lie. They just say that so that other people will like have kids and like, now you're miserable too. Sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Now you're with us. And I'm like, yeah.
I think it's going to be better.
Well, that's why I don't lie. It is fucking hard. It's fucking hard. It is hard, and a lot of days I'm just like, oh my God, this is my life? What the fuck? But when I say it's the best thing, like my son, he keeps me going. Like 100%. You have no room. Well, some people do, but for me, He gives me no room to be a piece of shit. Like,
Yeah.
I've got to get it together and keep going. And even with, like, my mental health battles, like, that kid just, like, I gotta do it for him. I gotta do it. So even if I have no motivation for myself, that kid is that number one. But it is fucking hard. It is so hard. And he's such a dick. That kid is such a dick to me. And they'll tear you apart, you know? If
In
you're-
about 8 years, we're gonna have him listen to this podcast.
Yes.
And just be like, hey, by the way,
Oliver,
you were a
Oliver,
dick.
I love you, but you were a dick at 5 years old. Well, let's talk about it. 2, 3, 4, and now 5. So,
And counting.
and
I'm
counting.
looking forward to being a girl dad.
Man, I'm not looking forward to killing a bunch of boys.
I mean, I think it's an excuse to just act on something I've always wanted to do.
I just want to commit
My
murder.
emo
Yeah.
kids, my early 2000 emo phase is excited about having an excuse to paint my nails black again.
I mean, I guess if that's the color she wants, you'd be like, Daddy, let me paint your nails black. Just pick back. Just do it.
It
Black or
will, it
black
will
is
not
black.
be black.
Time infinity.
It will not be
it'll
black,
pink.
guys. Yeah.
It'll be pink.
Pink, purple.
white.
Well, you
And
know,
you're going to do it. And
my
you're going
big
to be
ass
proud
is
of
walking
it.
around with fucking pink nail polish on. You can kiss my whole ass. There ain't nothing you can do about it. I promise.
You can look at it and you can judge me, but I don't fucking care.
Proud girl dad. Eat my fucking shorts. So hopefully it'll be black though.
I feel like probably like
Sadie's got too much of a bright disposition, so she probably
That's
will
true.
do something really bright and girly.
Yellow.
Desi
Yellow.
hates pink, so it probably won't be pink for me. It'll probably end up being purple because she's got
There's a
purple
lot of purple
goddamn
in
everything.
I didn't really put that together until I saw the baby's room and then started noticing other purple things in the house.
Every
It has
goddamn
no
thing
affinity
is
for purple. I like purple.
It's not. It's a better color than pink. So
I
I'm
don't know
happy.
necessarily that I want my nails painted purple, but
You're
Rather
gonna
than
do
be
it.
purple than pink.
You're going to do
oh, I'm
it.
gonna do everything that little girl wants me to
Yeah.
do. I promise. Yeah. No doubt about it. So
I'm a boy mom, so I'm being abused. Help me. Just kidding. Love that kid. He's definitely a mama's boy, which I'm very happy about. But
no,
Closing thoughts.
closing thoughts.
don't be a fuck up.
Don't fuck up your diet. And
It's you. It's you. You're the
Yeah.
problem.
not the
Have
diet's
some
not the problem, you're the
self-awareness.
problem.
It helps to have a good support group. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coaches help. Friends that are like-minded help.
One thing
Bad
that
news from your doctor helps.
that
Having a kid on the way helps.
Yes.
thing that doesn't help, which we briefly talked about, but a negative environment does not help. So avoid negative environments. Like if people are trying to get you to fail, if people are trying to get you to stop doing what you're doing, avoid them.
Yeah.
Walk away from them. Disassociate with them if it comes to it. Like
Yeah, I'll say this too.
your health is worth more than their friendship.
Exactly.
Like I said, me and Elizabeth had a long conversation about this yesterday. But if you're an empath like me and her are and tend to put other people before you, you do need to come to the realization that it's okay to think about yourself first sometimes. So,
And if they're a good friend or person in your life, they're going to support you. And
Yeah.
if they're not, they're not. Overall, they are not a good person to be in your life. If you're telling them, hey, I have this goal and it's for my health and it's going to make me a better person, and they don't support that and they sabotage you or hell, even mock you. I was mocked so much in the beginning. It was so rough. But luckily, like, in cutting those people out, I found such healthy friendships because like-minded people, like you said, of people that like they have goals. It may not be the same one, but they're gonna support you. So a lot of people were cut out quickly when I started, and I continue because they're not healthy people. They weren't good, so they were gone. So knowledge, consistency, positive environments. That's the key.
That's what it takes.
It's what it takes. Not the diet. You can do any kind of diet, but if you don't have those things, you will fail. You will fail every time. It's not the diet. It's you. It's not your thyroid. It's the drive-through. Okay.
It's the drive-through. Yeah, fuck the drive-through. Stop going to the goddamn.
Yes.
Stop going to Taco Bell at 2 a.m. right before they close.
Kind of want to hit that on the way home.
I'll be honest, I kind of wanted some yesterday, and that's why it's on my mind. But you know what?
Better,
I
another
didn't.
quarter-pounder one.
I didn't go.
And this is the part we all fail.
Instead, I went to
Or
the
right back off the
refrigerator.
rails, baby.
I went to the refrigerator and I looked and I was like, what the fuck do I even have to eat? And I had some pepperoni and some cheese and some Ritz crackers, and I made a makeshift
My fat ass
Lunchable.
has done. I love a pepperoni and mayo sandwich.
Oh,
Fucking
No.
amazing. 10 out of 10.
No.
10 out of 10.
No.
Fried bologna and mayo is excellent too.
I just can't do the mayo.
My ass hurts. I'm out.